everyone. Yeah, I guess I wanted to tell you about a little thing or a big thing that I did. I just got back a couple of days ago. So I decided to go on a holiday for a week with no phone, no laptop, no kids, no friends, literally just me. And before I went away, I guess I'd been noticing just how much I was plugged into my phone, and that as a business owner and as a mum, you constantly feel like you're on. And with that phone, you know, the emails are coming in, the voicemails are going off, there's text messages, it's really constant. And so I thought, right, I want to have a week where I can just switch off and be nothing to anyone else, just be with me for a week. And it was a really empowering week, and I actually learned a lot. And yeah, so I thought I'd share that with you today. So I guess I went away, and the first thing when I told people I'm going to go away and I'm not taking my phone, horrified, like, you can't do that. And I was like, well, no, I can. And they weren't saying that I physically couldn't do it, but they were just like, they just couldn't fathom how that could possibly be a thing. So I was like, no, I'm going to do it. And I went a little bit old school. So I got a little book, and the numbers of the kids, and just emergency contacts that I needed, and I gave the important people an emergency contact for if the world happened to blow up. And I thought, all bases are covered, it's okay. I printed out my boarding passes, I printed out hotel accommodation, so I just had everything as a printed copy, and off I set without any outside world contact. And it was really quite cool. So I'd spend the days, I'd get up, I didn't even have a watch, which was really quite funny. So I remember the first morning I woke up and I didn't have a watch. The room I was staying in didn't have a clock, no phone, no laptop. And I thought, oh, it must be morning time. Up, and I thought I'll get up and I'll go and watch the sunrise. So I went, and off I went for a ride, walked up. I was in Byron Bay actually, so I walked up, went up to the lighthouse. So I did probably a 40-minute walk to get up to the lighthouse, watched the sunrise, sat up there, wrote in my journal, read a book, did all kinds of things, came back down, had breakfast, and then I asked a random stranger, hey, what's the time? And they said it's 7:45 a.m. So I think I must have been up at 4:30. But anyway, so that's pretty much how I lived my life for the week, with no phone and no time, and it was really cool. And a few things that I noticed was that I became a whole lot more connected to me, and I guess the things that were really important. And I spent a lot of time writing in my journal of, I guess, the things that in the busy world and in the busyness of life that I'd let slip, things like just those small moments that, I felt like every morning we were getting up, we were so rushed to get out the door, and I'd be checking emails and everything was happening, and I wasn't tuning into just those beautiful small moments where we sit together and have breakfast and laugh. We were still sitting together having breakfast, but I felt like I was just totally rushed all the time. So just tuning into those things again. Things like, it was really always a big part of me was preparing great food, and I guess cooking with a lot of love, and cooking food that I enjoyed and the family enjoyed. So that was important to me. I wrote that down. It was just, I guess, connecting with friends and not being too busy to do that, and family. So all these little things that I thought, right, they're little things, but they're actually super important, and it doesn't really matter how busy life is, that those things are the things that really mattered to me. And similarly with my business, all the things that really mattered to me and that were important there. So I wrote all of those things down so that when I came back, I've sort of reread those things, and I keep tuning into those every morning, so that my day is going a lot more, I guess, in the way that I want it to go. So yeah, that was a really cool thing. I found that I became, I guess, a lot more creative. So I do find that, when I go out for a walk or I take time out just to be with me, normally that's when a lot of ideas and creative things flow to me. And, that happened again while I was away. So many ideas and creative things came to me. And, I even sat down and I wrote a whole draft for a book. I didn't even have the book idea before I went away. It just gave me clarity, and the book, it just appeared, and I wrote and wrote and wrote in my journal. So I've got, everything mapped out to be able to write this book that I never would have done had I have not taken that time to myself. What else? I noticed that, that I guess that emergencies and putting out fires took up a lot of time in my day and sapped a lot of energy. And, those emergencies still occurred while I was away, but I just actually didn't know they were happening, and everyone dealt with them, and life was okay. So yeah, that was a good thing too. And I guess, yeah, just really noticing how many times in a day I was picking up that phone and looking at it and doing you know, for no reason. So breaking that habit was really cool as well. Looking around and just noticing more things. You know, so often we're on our phones and we're not noticing what's happening around us. You know, for me, it was obviously the kids, you know, laughing, just doing the little things that they do that are so funny that you just miss when you're on your phone. You know, walking out in the street and you just miss total strangers and the things that, you know, you might just make eye contact with someone in the street that when you're on your phone you don't do. And so I found that I met some really cool people. I just would, I guess I was there, I was open, and I would just talk to people. And yeah, I met a really cool couple, and they took me out for a whole day, and we went, you know, we found this tea tree lake, we discovered all these cool beaches. So that was really nice as well, just meeting people, I guess, when I wasn't connected to a phone. But yeah, I just had conversations with random strangers, and you know, even at grabbing groceries at a supermarket, you know, or, you know, engaging with a shopkeeper when you're getting something. Quite often, you know, I find that I'm rushing and writing an email or whatever, or replying to a text message, whereas it just let me be present with that person that I was with. So it was a really cool experience, and yeah, something I highly recommend. You know, even if you can't unplug for a whole week, you might if you're going on a holiday, but just in day-to-day life, I've sort of made a commitment that after school I'm going to turn that phone off and not use it, so that I can just be present and do the things that I want to do in myself and with my family. And then to the things that I actually need and want to use a phone for. Obviously I need it for work, but I need to make that in specific hours. And I've noticed did notice in my time away was after a few days of just being by myself, I was like, oh, this is bliss. And then I started to really miss my my kids. So what I would do is I'd get my little book out that I'd written in, and I went to the place I was staying and said, oh, can I use your landline telephone? And I called the kids to say hi. So, you know, making phone calls, I guess, is, you know, we've been given phones and they're meant to have made our lives easier. In a lot of respects, it's made it more challenging and made us more busy. But one thing it does do, it allows us to stay connected with people. So that's one thing I want to use my phone for as well. And then the other one was I wanted to book to do something. I wanted to go kayaking on this particular day, and I had no way to book that, so I literally rode down to the kayaking place, and they said, oh, we're full, but if you wait a couple of hours and see that someone doesn't turn up, you might get a spot. So I did that. I met some cool people while I waited, and it got to the time slot for kayaking and there were no spots, so I had to come back day. But yeah, so I need my phone to book things, but realistically I don't need to. Being tied to it and feeling like you know, Pavlov's dog, where they ring the bell and he sort of salivates. I don't need to be so tied to it that every time there's an email or text message that it makes me jump and makes me get I guess I feel with the phone that you're constantly rushed. I feel constantly rushed, like there's always something to do. Whereas now, in turning it off at certain times and leaving it, it allows you to be that bit more grounded, that bit more present, and just to be a bit more in tune with what you want for your own life. So yeah, I thought I'd share that with you today. It was quite a cool experience. After I finished the week by myself, I then went away with the kids, and we had 5 days with the kids and my dad, where I didn't take the phone, and that was really, really nice. And I noticed a massive difference just in how much we laughed and played as a family, and just, yeah, how many more free moments I had in the day. So yeah, highly recommend it.